Welcome to our program. My name is Mel Lehman, and there beside me is a dear friend of mine and of my wife. Susan says hello to you,
Oh,
incidentally.
thank you. Thank you. Give her my greetings too.
We met in Heston and have become good friends.
I knew you I remember you when you were a student at EMU.
Oh my
A
goodness.
young guy, way back when. You were in a singing group, I
I
remember.
was in a singing. That is a whole other topic. We
Yes.
spared investigation.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we are looking at your great talents. Welcome to our program,
Thank
to
you.
Common Humanity Peace Channel. I'm in my studio, and you see behind me visually what we try to do here at Common Humanity. We try to build bridges. Peacemaking organization. We're building bridges between, here is my Amish, Mennonite, American heritage. And here behind me is the work I've been doing for the last 25 years or so, which is building bridges with the Middle East. Our guest today also builds bridges through art, but his particular art is music. And we're going to hear some of his music. So let me be brief so we can have as much of our time with Mr. Tony Brown as we can. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you very much.
Let me give you just a quick background, and we're going to learn a lot more about Tony as the half hour goes by. Tony is an international promoter of peace and change in the world. His work as peacemaker has taken him to political hotspots in Africa, Asia, and South America. We're going to see some of these in a moment. And his work was used to facilitate the reducing of tensions in Northern Ireland, Bosnia, and Northern Uganda. In each venue, he stresses the oneness of the human family. He has performed in concert halls and fine arts centers around the world. He is lauded for his moving performances of spirituals. He's versatile and also is a dynamic performer who has sung in Broadway show tunes, art songs, and folk tunes. He has a unique gift, and he uses that for peace building. And we're greatly honored to have you here with us today, Tony.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Mel.
Yeah, tell us a little bit, if you would, about how you got started with this passion of yours. In a few minutes, we're going to see some pictures from your travels around the world, but tell us how you got this this fire in the belly that has driven you, the calling that you got.
You know, I think it was riveted in my formative years when my family moved us from the inner city in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to a 10-acre plot of land on the outskirts of the city where we were definitely in the minority. And I remember clearly every morning as I would walk down the lane to catch the school bus, a white woman would raise up her window and begin yelling at us, me and my siblings. We couldn't quite understand what we had done. And then we realized we hadn't done anything, but that it was the color of our skin that she took issue with. And so we were afraid. And my mother said to us, she said, this woman is, she's a victim of her own circumstances. It has to do with who her parents were, and it has to do with what she was taught by maybe her friends or people in the broader community. But the truth of the matter is she's a victim. And the truth of the matter is we are one people. So when you walk down that lane, you just say the 23rd Psalm. That was the first lesson, I think, for me in peace building. When she said, we are really one people, she was misguided. The second lesson I think I learned from my mother particularly was don't say anything. Don't just keep walking by. Don't say anything. Don't throw a stone. Don't yell. Don't, even if you want to. In other words, she's not there. Just walk past it. And then the third lesson that I learned from my mom was find some way to attach or append to the adversary. And so every once in a while, my mother would go around the community collecting money for various charities. and she would always stop at that house and knock on the door, and the woman would always give her a little money, and they would have a little conversation about the charity and nothing else. There they found some type of common ground.
Mhm.
Um, and this would continue, and over the years, they would have an extended conversation. And it eventually took 7 years before that family had dinner at our table, and then ultimately the lady would come down to have tea with my mom.
Wow.
So what what I'm saying is, peace building is something that we work at,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that was a huge lesson for me because really, when it comes down to it, my mom is right. Once we can break down those barriers, we are one people
Yeah.
across these different experiential divides. But then we have so much more to share with each other
Right.
and
Right.
learn from each other.
Right.
And
Right.
that ultimately happened.
Yeah.
So I would say the seeds were planted in the formative years of my life.
Yeah. Well, you have a very wise mother, and
No, it's true. It's true. It's
great.
true. I could use her right now. I mean, I could use that wisdom every once in a while.
Yeah. Well, we're going to continue on with your mother's wisdom and your wisdom, which has been built with that. You have promised me a couple of songs in the course of
Yeah,
this, and we're going to get to some slides of your travel around the world. Would you be comfortable now to give us a bit of music before we go to the slides?
absolutely. I am a small part of the world. I have a small hand which to hold. But if I stand by your side and you put your hand in mine, together we can be so strong and bold. I am a small part of the world. I have a small dream in my eyes. But if I tell you my dreams and you add your dreams to mine, together we can reach up to the skies. Hand in hand, dreams combine, voice with voice, together for all time. Hand in hand, dreams combine, voice with voice, for all time. I am a small part of the world. I have a small voice ringing clear. But if I sing out for freedom and you add your voice to mine, together we have nothing left to fear. Hand in hand, dreams combine, voice with voice, together for all time. Hand in hand, dreams combine, voice with voice, for all time. I am a small part of the world. Take my hand.
Here is my hand, Tony.
Here's mine.
Here's my virtual hand. I wish I was there to shake your actual hand. We'll do that soon. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, this wonderful music, I might note, get your pencil, you folks out there in cyberland. We're going to list a website in a little bit where you can get some music of Tony's, so you might grab a pencil. In the meantime, we're going to see how Tony has taken this wonderful music around the world. So let's go to the slides and see some of the travels that you have done. If I can get this to work here. Um,
Oh yeah.
we're seeing your name there on the slide, Tony Brown, singer. You're seeing that there?
Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is one of the formative influence of your life, as I recall.
Yes, that is my high school voice teacher during my junior and senior year. His name was Robert Ewing, and he's I sang in his choirs those 2 years, but he approached me one day, one fall day in September, and said, "Hey, how about you come to my office and we work on some vocal technique, and then I want to enter you into some competitions." And of course, I didn't know what that. I mean, I said, "Yeah, okay," but I didn't realize that what he was saying was, "You've got something there that needs to be cultivated." And so he did. He took time. He had a study hall during that time. He had gone to the schedule, saw that I had a study hall at the same time, and he started working with me every week, really trying to get me in shape so that I could sing some competitions. And I did sing at the local level and the regional level. And in both cases, I won. And it was a big boost of confidence for me. I don't, and years later, maybe, oh, 12 years later, 12 years ago, I found him and I thanked him because I told him, you didn't have to do that, but that you laid a foundation for me and gave me some, um, I don't know, some confidence to keep going with voice. And he asked me to sing a concert for him, and at his church, which I did gladly in Columbus, Ohio. And at the end, the people jumped out of their seats and started clapping at the end. And I reached down to the audience and got him and brought him up to the stage and turned and started applauding him. And everybody was applauding him.
Yeah.
Mr. Ewing was a hero of mine and a fine example of what it means to see strengths in people and then call them out and cultivate them. And I want to be that kind of person.
Yeah. Well, this is where some of our um, wait, hold on here. This is where some of our travels have taken you to Northern Ireland and some of your work, music and peacemaking.
Yes. On one of my trips, I've taken 4 trips to Northern Ireland, but on one of my trips, we had really a wonderful experience when Tommy Sands is the man in the middle. He's a very well-known, internationally acclaimed folk singer. He's from Northern Ireland, and he does a lot of singing around there. And while I was there, I was on the BBC, and he was the I was his guest on his radio show.
Yeah.
He is just a wonderful person too. And what happened is that before I arrived, the people there on the ground brought together the 2 major paramilitary groups, the Ulster Defense Association and the Irish Republican Army. And Lisa Bergman is from the States. She traveled with me. She's a pianist. And we sang to the paramilitary leaders. And these guys are tough. They've been killing each other for the last 40 years. You could see that they were hardened men. And Tommy and I sang songs and told stories and shared with them. And by the end of that time, I could see that our engagement in having them sing too on some songs was beginning to melt them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fascinating thing to watch because at the end of it, one of those guys stood up and thanked us for coming, and he couldn't hold back the tears. And once he couldn't hold back the tears, others couldn't hold back the tears. There, we through song and story were able to penetrate those defenses.
Wow.
And to help them find ways to join each other. I'm told that they continue to meet and that they use music as a part of their meetings when they meet. It was a wonderful experience there.
Wow. Well, let's continue our journey. Why is my slide? Here we are. We're now in the great continent of Africa.
Yes, that's in Uganda.
Hmm.
And we also had the honor of singing there before about 10,000 people. You were only seeing a partial view of all the people that were there. But the thing was, and I'll make it quick, the country of Uganda was going through a war between the Lord's Resistance Army and the Ugandan government. The Lord's Resistance Army really was one of these violent uh, groups that would go into villages, take the children, turn them into child soldiers and sex slaves, and then have them go back after they brainwash them and kill their own people
Hmm.
in their own. Ultimately, the Uganda government had to move these people out of their villages and put them in camps so that they could be protected by the army. This picture here is a gathering of all of those people who were living in these camps. And the thing that I came away with from that experience was these folks, uh, yes, they responded to the music, and they also sang for us, and we saw them singing their songs, and they did their dances for us, and it turned into an incredibly festive occasion.
Hmm.
And it was remarkable because in the midst of this war, in the midst of being away from their villages and their homes, they were able to erupt in joy,
Hmm.
and it was humbling
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
very humbling. Yeah.
Uh, Here is another. My, I'm sorry. This is another
Oh,
gentleman from
this is
Uganda.
Ricky Richard from Uganda, and he has his own story, which is quite an interesting one. Ricky was an abducted child soldier himself. He recalled the experience. In fact, he took us to the place where he was abducted. He was with his family, playing out in the yard with some other kids, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the Lord's Resistance Army they arrived, and they took the parents by their wrists, and they tied them up in a long line. And he thought they were going to be taking the parents, but no, they were taking the children.
Oh my.
And they lit a kerosene. They lit a match after pouring kerosene over the kids, over the parents and the adults, and he saw his parents and parts of his family go up in smoke.
Oh. Oh.
Out of that, he creates, or once he was out of that and was able to escape from the Lord's Resistance Army, he creates an organization called Friends of Orphans. And Friends of Orphans is an organization that tries to build relationships between villages where these young kids came back and killed people, their own people, to try to bring some peace back so that they could go back into their communities. It's not easy work. He's also involved in trying to help these formerly abducted children find a way to make a living. And he's created a school there which helps to educate them. It's like a trade school.
Mhm.
And he's doing a very important work. He recently wrote a book about his life and his story called Child Soldier. He's a he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we have gotten all the way to China, and there
Yeah,
you are in the middle.
yeah, yeah. You can't tell me from the rest of them, can you?
Oh well.
Well, well,
Well, yeah. You look.
it was it was a it was an incredible experience for me. It was I believe it was my first visit to Asia. Since then, I've been to a lot of other Asian countries, but China was always a place I've been intrigued by, and I was really uh, moved and honored by being there. I spoke mainly and sang mainly in university. So I was interacting with a lot of young people, and I learned a lot
Mhm.
from them. Uh, and here I had, this is a group that I spoke to. They were interested in learning about the spirituals,
Mm.
the African American spirituals,
Right. Right.
and they wanted to sing them.
Yeah.
And so I taught them some, and I gave them a little bit of the background and the history of the songs. And the music really did bind us together.
Wow. Wow. That's great. I think our next picture here is from, sorry, here is also from Asia.
Yes, yes. That's on the same trip. That was my trip to China,
Hmm.
and I gave a lot of. Not only did I speak at universities and so forth, and went into many a classroom during the day because they were so intrigued by American culture,
Hmm.
but I also um, gave evening concerts, and the hospitality that they showed me there was very humbling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and this is coming out of a church service on Sunday morning where I sang. And it was a big, when you think of China, you don't think of Christian church services. But this was just outside of Beijing. It was a full house, and I had a chance to sing. And this woman approached me, and the woman to the right in the red dress traveled with me everywhere. She was my interpreter, and we had a nice, I would call it a communion, a connection from the heart.
Hmm.
And you can tell just by this old lady's face
Yeah.
that she had had an experience.
Yeah.
Um, I say, music puts us in touch with each other.
Right.
And even though I was singing in English and she did not speak Chinese, English rather, she
Right.
spoke Chinese and
Yeah.
I did not speak Chinese, she and I looked into each other's eyes and found our common humanity.
There you go. There
The
you go.
name of your organization.
There you go. Let's see if I can get to our next slide. This is in. Tell us.
That's in South Korea. I was there. I had been in the far east of Russia, and on my way back, I got invited to Seoul, and I got there on the International Day of Peace, where I was invited to participate in an ecumenical service that they had between the Christians and the Buddhists.
Mhm.
And that too was a wonderful experience. And I was pleased to see that that kind of work was going on in South Korea, of efforts to try to cross the boundaries of religion
Yeah,
and
yeah,
find common ground. And so I was there for maybe 3 or 4 days, not long, but I'll never forget that event because it was wonderful.
yeah. And this is now in with Muslim friends.
That's in Ethiopia. And the goal there, the people on the ground were trying to bring the Christian Orthodox together with the Muslims. And the Muslims, we were going to do a joint concert together.
Hmm.
The the Muslims were very open to it, and they came to the concert hall, and they did some beautiful chanting. And the Christian Orthodox, the bishop told them that they would never share a stage with the Muslims. So, but many Christian Orthodox came anyway, but they just did not participate in the program. But the outstanding thing that happened, and it had never happened in Ethiopia before, was after this event, the Muslims and the Christian Orthodox met in a reception room where there was an opportunity for them to exchange.
Mhm.
And that was very fascinating to watch and to be a part of.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Sadly, the bishop wouldn't let the Christian Orthodox participate, but there still was a connection made,
right.
and I have no idea what's going on there now, but it was a magic moment at that evening.
Right. We promised to give some information where you can hear more of Tony's music. If you got a pencil there, it's anthonybrownbaritone.net. anthonybrownbaritone.net. And on this website, you will see CDs that you can purchase of Mr. Brown. They're great for your own collection, and Christmas is not that far away. You might want to pick up some early holiday shopping. You can also contact Tony for programs. This age of pandemic, oh, what a moment we're living in. A lot of us, as we're doing at this very moment, are turning to Zoom and other um, computer connections. Tony is quite a lot of experience and very good at coming to your church via Zoom to participate in a service, to lead a service. He also offers music classes, and he can give a concert, special connection with a concert. Anything you'd want to add to what I just said, Tony?
No, that's right. I think what you said is right. I've been doing Zoom church services lately, and I am working on a concert which I want to give in November.
Yeah, excellent. And here is our website. In case you missed that, you can also contact Tony through commonhumanity.org. We'll say a little bit more about that at the end of the program. Well, our clock is ticking, but we're very eager to hear another song, Tony. Would you be willing to give another bit of music for us?
Yes. This is a song that friends of mine wrote, and it's called I Believe It Belongs to You. J.D. Martin and Jan Garrett. And it's just a story. I once heard a powerful story about a man who stood in his truth. Such conviction in who he was, he would not be moved. Someone stepped out from the crowd and said, "Are you Martin Luther King?" He said, "Yes, I am," and the well-dressed man spit on him. Then the king took out his handkerchief and wiped the hate from his suit, gave it back to the man and said, "I believe this belongs to you. I will lift you up and do what I can do. I see your heart, I know your pain. I have been there too. I will hold you high while you do what you have to do. I am clear who is standing here. I believe this belongs to you. I once had a powerful story I used to carry around. I thought it was you all this time that held my spirit down. But now I know the truth of who I came here to be. You are my angel in disguise, not my enemy. So I thank you for the part you played in this dance we had to do. I give you back your own true love. I believe it belongs to you. I will lift you up and do what I can do. I see your heart, I feel your pain. I have been there too. I will hold you high while you do what you have to do. I am clear who is standing here. I believe this belongs to you.
Oh, Tony, wonderful, wonderful. What a transcendent, transformative moment. What a truly wonderful song.
Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. It is a transcendent song. I think that's
It is transcendent. I felt the spirit.
yeah.
I mean, that was wonderful.
Good.
And that's the answer to the next question. We just heard the answer to the next question. The
Yes.
question of the title is, what are we going to do in this moment of our country with this hatred and this foolishness by children who call themselves children, who spew out these terrible things? And we're in this strange moment. We mentioned our younger years. I would have never imagined that we've gotten to this spot. What can we do? You have embodied in the last half hour what we can do, but are there words that you could add to what we've already heard and saw and heard from your heart?
Mel, that's a good question, and it's an important one. Back in about, I believe it was 1968, maybe just a little before that, the governor, George Wallace of Georgia, ran for president. And of course, George Wallace was a white supremacist. And his rhetoric was, for me, a young man, was very frightening. And it was very similar to the rhetoric that we hear now today from our current president, as he tries to pull us apart and to demonize one side and to hold up another. And he ran for president, and George Wallace did. And of course, he did not win. In the intervening time between 1968 and now, our world has changed. We now have within us, on our continent, in our nation, the drumbeat of the Africans. We have the calypso and the reggae of the Caribbean, the salsa, the rumba, the bossa nova sounds of the Latin. We have the pentatonic sounds of the Asians, and they're all around in our country. And they add to this wonderful tapestry that we call the United States of America.
There you go.
Because those numbers are increasing, this voice, this small voice called white supremacy, is threatened, and it wants to like a bantam rooster might, strut around as if it is the best thing in the world because it's threatened. But and also, if you've been listening, I believe it was the FBI that says they are the biggest threat to terror in the United States. We can't be spectators. We have to engage. We have to figure out ways creatively. How can we enter into conversations with white supremacists? What happened on the lane walking to the school every morning? Some transformation happened, and it happened over time, but it happened. But if we're merely spectators, and if we shake our heads and say, how terrible, nothing is going to happen. We have to find ways to bridge gaps, to bridge these divides. And it may mean we have to be courageous,
Mhm.
just as my mom was when she walked up those steps, not really knowing what this woman was going to say back to her.
Right. Wow.
But we have to be courageous ourselves. Otherwise, we won't have change. Every day is an opportunity to cross a bridge.
Thank you, Tony, for helping us cross this bridge. Can we have you back and we'll continue this discussion? And
Absolutely.
some
Thank
other,
you.
we're
Thank you
going
for
to have
having
one
me.
more song before we go, if we can get one more song. But those of you out there in our audience, please, let's continue the spirit. The way to get in touch with Tony, something you can do. Let's do something. So the way you can do one thing is to
Yep.
get Tony into your Zoom service. So call, say it again. It's Anthony Brown.
Baritone.net.
Okay, let's do
And
that
they can
again.
also reach you too. They can reach you.
Yeah, and do that at Common View. So let's do this together as a symbolic together. We're going to say this together, you and me, Tony. It's
Yes.
Anthony
Anthony
Brown
Brown
Barrett.
Baritone.net.
Okay, so go there and contact Tony. Get him to come to your church. Buy a CD. Share that with your friends, and let's do one other thing together, Tony, which is to say the words of Common Humanity. It's Common
Common Humanity.
Humanity.org.
Yes, commonhumanity.org.
Right, and go there. We have posters for sale. These beautiful pictures you see. This one here with the blue vase, the blue vase, is supports our Iraqi refugee artists. Imagine you're an Iraqi refugee. In 2003, this country invaded Iraq, and we protected the oil ministry, but we did not protect the Iraq Museum. The museum was vandalized. Refugee artists became, I gotta stop, but please.
May I give one more website?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's piecingittogether.org. Piecing It Together, the organization which I founded, is now a part of Heston College, but that is the web address. Piecing It Together, PEACING.org.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all out there in cyberspace. Please consider a donation to commonhumanity.org. There's a donate button there. We have to pay for the cable. We have to pay for the computer. This stuff takes some dollars, so please consider a gift for Christmas. Thank you, Tony. You promised me one more song.
One more song. It's called Make Them Hear You from the Broadway show Ragtime. Go out and tell our story, let it echo far and wide. Make them hear you, make them hear you. How justice was our battle, and how justice was denied. Make them hear you, make them hear you. And say to those who blamed us for the way we chose to fight, that sometimes there are battles which are more than black or white. And I could not put down my cause when justice was my right. Make them hear you, make them hear you. Go out and tell our story to your daughters and your sons. Make them hear you, make them hear you. And tell them in our struggle we were not the only ones. Make them hear you, make them hear you. Proclaim it from your pulpit, in your classroom, with your pen. Teach every child to raise their voice, and then, my people, then will justice be demanded, and the world will comprehend. Make them hear you. When they hear you, I'll be near you again.
Tony, that was wonderful. That was really, really wonderful. Thank you. God bless you. One more time, it's anthonybrownbaritone.net, and it's commonhumanity.org. God bless you, Tony. Thank you for
Thank
your
you. Thank you for having me,
once
Mel.
again. Thank you, and our audience. Come back next week, and we're going to keep this thing going, keep the spirit moving. We got to keep going. We're going to do this. God bless you,
Yeah.
Tony. Thank you so
We're
much.
partners, my friend.
Absolutely. Here's my hand through cyberspace. All right. We got it.
Take good care.
Thank you. God bless you. See you
Yeah,
next time.
bye-bye. You bet.
Bye bye.
You bet.